Hi everyone and welcome to the Actually Business World. Today we're going to talk about 5 golden tips for entrepreneurs. But before, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to our channel. Now let's begin. Number 1. Spend less than you earn. One of the most important principles to becoming wealthy is to spend less than you earn. This sounds easy enough, but in practice it can be hard to do. In this age of worldwide economic growth and prosperity, it has never been easier to borrow money. Temptation to borrow is everywhere, whether it be for a new TV, a new car, or a new house. The problem with personal debt is that it can become a trap. An example of how one can be trapped by debt can be seen with probably its most common form, credit cards. Ideally, people should ensure they pay off their balance in full by the end of the interest-free period to avoid paying interest. Commonly, however, people use their entire credit limit and make only the minimum payment required. This minimum payment is usually just enough to cover the interest charges. Combined with a high interest rate, this makes credit cards a very expensive form of borrowing. There are also those people who spend the equals at what they earn. If someone is spending everything they earn, obviously they're not saving or investing any of their earnings. This habit will make it very hard, if not impossible, for them to become wealthy. It also means that they will more than likely need to borrow in the future to fund larger purchases or vacations. There are 2 methods to spend less than you earn: develop financial discipline and intelligence, or reduce consumption. Number 2. Avoid debt. No one tries to get in debt. It's just one of those things that happens without your notice, or may even feel as if it's out of your control. Credit cards and loans can feel like free money, and consumers may quickly forget how much they can actually afford to spend. But what is a debt? Well, debt is basically when you receive something immediately but owe on it for a later date. You're going to promise to pay for that item over a particular period of time. So, that's traditionally what debt is, and there are a lot of different forms of how we get ourselves into debt. Sometimes we look at credit card debt where it can get overwhelming. Other forms could be car loans, college loans, or home loans. There are a lot of tips for avoiding debt. You need to have a fallback emergency fund, pay off your credit card balances in full, cut out the wants, limit the number of cards you have, master sheet of expenses, collect coupons to save cash. Number 3. Take risks. Many of life's greatest achievements require going outside of your comfort zone. Whether it means overcoming shyness to perform on stage, investing money to help your business grow, or putting yourself out there for the chance to find love, some of life's most rewarding experiences come as a result of taking risks. However, many of us have a difficult time dealing with the uncertainty that goes along with taking risks. Taking risks doesn't mean succeeding every time, and that's okay. The process of taking risks may lead to failure, but even that can make us a better person by increasing the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Failure might turn us into better people, but that doesn't make it any less difficult to take risks. It turns out that building confidence can help in overcoming the fear of risk-taking. Entrepreneurs must go up against tremendous odds to build a successful business. That means taking big risks without knowing the outcome. Taking a risk to achieve a goal requires courage to face the fear of uncertainty. No matter the outcome, either way, we grow through the process and become more resilient and confident. Better yet, building those skills helps in taking more risks and improves the chances of achieving future goals. Number 4. Time isn't money. For my entire life, I've heard this one: time is money. However, most of the people who say this haven't yet figured out how to fully sell out their time. That means that for them, time could potentially be money, but in the end, it's just time. This misguided view causes us to be impatient, utilitarian in our relationships, and sternness those who don't operate at our pace or waste our time on calls or in meetings. Again, the assumption we errantly take in this approach is that our time is fully committed for cash, and others barge in for it, taking points off the board. The truth of the matter is, the time is money adage has gotten us into a lot more trouble than we realize. Because we live our lives based on the misleading premise that time is money, we attempt to do more in less time. We begin to confuse activity with productivity, as if the doing will grant us being. If you love what you do and you're not stressed by it, that's one thing. But if you feel you can never disengage from your work to regenerate, chances are you need to entertain the idea of a lifestyle change. Time and money promote different mindsets. We view our choices about how to spend time as being deeply connected to our sense of self. In contrast, choices about money often lead us to think in a relatively cold, rational manner. Focusing on time frees people to prioritize happiness in social relationships. Even a simple sentence unscrambling task is enough to induce these different frames of mind. Number 5. Invest in long-term. A long-term investment is an account on the asset side of a company's balance sheet that represents the company's investments, including stocks, bonds, real estate, and cash. Long-term investments are assets that a company intends to hold for more than a year. The long-term investment account differs largely from the short-term investment account in that short-term investments will most likely be sold, whereas the long-term investments will not be sold for years and, in some cases, may never be sold. Being a long-term investor means that you are willing to accept a certain amount of risk in pursuit of potentially higher rewards, and that you can afford to be patient for a longer period of time. It also suggests that you have enough capital available to afford to tie up a set amount for a long period of time. When a holding company or other firm purchases bonds or shares of common stock as investments, the decision about whether to classify it as short-term or long-term has some fairly important implications for the way those assets are valued on the balance sheet. Short-term investments are marked to market, and any declines in value are recognized as a loss. However, increases in value are not recognized until the item is sold. Therefore, the balance sheet classification of investment, whether it is long-term or short-term, has a direct impact on the net income that is reported on the income statement. Thanks for watching. We hope you really enjoyed this video.